How bad do you think modern hookup culture is? Who is it worse for, guys and girls? And what does it look like if you extend that over a longer period of time? I heard Jordan Peterson say it
Mhm.
can completely restructure your value hierarchy and
Mhm.
make you nearly undateable.
I think he's absolutely accurate on that because I think it skews your perception of what intimacy really is and what I think humans are sort of wired to look for in a relationship of this like long-term trust and stability and companionship. And I think if you spend years just hooking up with people and sleeping around and not taking any kind of commitment, you will feel very detached from that idea of commitment. And I think that men or women will look at somebody who has just been like sleeping around for 20 years and it's kind of like something wrong with you or like why like I don't really want to date. Like I wouldn't want to date somebody that has, if I was in my 30s who had spent his entire, 20s and 30s just hooking up with girls and not seeking anything that was more meaningful. Because I would kind of be like, well, what are your values actually mean? Like, what have you been focusing on? Like, I don't need you to have been in like 4 long-term relationships seeking marriage, but if you've just spent all of your time kind of chasing tail, then what does that say about you? I don't know if I could pinpoint who it impacts most negatively. I think that it's been different for men and women. I think that men have been negatively impacted because, and especially, I think the bigger negative impact for men has been for sure. And I think that has fostered an increase in hookup culture for sure. But I think for women, hookup culture has completely kind of like skewed like protecting this beautiful thing that you have, which is like, I mean, you kind of look at it biologically, where it's like men, you have the ability to like go sow as many seeds and have as many children. We're seeing it with Elon right now. You can have as many kids as possible. Women, it's like you have like one egg a month. You like have to protect this baby that you're having. It's just like we're wired differently. And I think for women, it's so dangerous. And I also think it's ideologically very dangerous because you're putting yourself out there and it's under the guise of this female empowerment. Like, I can do whatever I want with my body. I can sleep with whoever. This is powerful. But it's like you're actually just like letting somebody get off using you and putting yourself in an incredibly vulnerable situation because he doesn't get pregnant. You might get pregnant. And now you have this child that you have to raise. Like, that's a very real consequence of sex and hookup culture that I think a lot of people don't think about because abortion exists. And the common line is, consent to sex is not consent to pregnancy. I'm like, it kind of is. Like, whether you're consenting to it or not, it's a natural consequence. Like, that just happens. You can't avoid that. And that's just kind of lying to yourself. And so I think it's taken what is a very vulnerable, incredibly intimate situation for both parties, but especially for women, and turned it into this false sense of empowerment that I think has really skewed what women look for and what they value in themselves and they value in the world. And I think a lot of women just lie to themselves about it feeling powerful and feeling really happy. But when you look at statistics, like across decades and decades of research, it shows that women who are I also show this with like parenthood, but married couples are objectively happier. And it isn't because the institution of marriage is so perfect and it fixes everything, but it's because you have a lasting commitment to somebody else who has your best interests at heart, who loves you and is trying to make you better, where you have that security and that stability. And that provides human flourishing. And you'll see articles that come out and it's like women who are single in their 30s are richer and they're happier. And you read the articles, you actually get past the headline and it's like they're using an outlier from a tiny study of like 30 people, or they're saying that they're actually happier, but it's only looking at men and women who are single in their 30s. It's not actually looking at women who are single compared to women who are married or have kids or have been divorced or whatever it is. So the research is very skewed. So I think it's just like changed what women are.
Part of that, I
driven
feel like,
towards.
for women have to make more money because they're
Mhm.
supporting themselves
Yeah.
versus if they're in a relationship, they could take other jobs and maybe pay less that have a better balance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of women who are married choose to, take a lower paying job or be able to stay home with the kids. And there's also the opposite side of things where it's like married men significantly out earn unmarried men, because then there is this, and I've even just watched it with Alex, where we don't have kids. I make good money, but as a husband, he's like, no, if you ever want to like stop working completely, I want to be able to let you do that and we don't have to change our lifestyle. We don't have to worry about anything. And I want to protect you. And especially as I've kind of made this whole career shift of leaving a situation where I had I had a W-2 job and I was a salaried employee to where I've now jumped to, my income is based on basically what I put out.
Mhm.
I would have been able to do that if it wasn't for his, support and being able to make that happen. And in a similar way where he started his business, I was able to give support because he was leaving his W-2 job. So it's like this give and take. But just watching him as a husband, we've only been married for a year, he's making significantly more. And it's like this mindset shift of, I'm going to be better for you. I'm going to try to make more to provide for us. And I think that there's a lot of unmarried men who are obviously motivated and want to do well, but don't have that extra, I need to provide, I need to take care of them. So yeah, you have women that need to provide because they don't have that safety net. And then you have men that are driven. So again, it's just this divide between men and women goes so deep right now between happiness and finances and educational levels to ideology. It's so deep. And I think people kind of brush it aside and make fun of it, and we laugh at it, and we say, oh, these liberal women, whatever. It's so important. It's our society is becoming completely off kilter because of this. I think it's a root of a lot of these issues. I think Jordan is one of the only people that talks about it as extensively as it should. Chris Williamson is another one who talks about this extensively because it's such a huge issue.
What do you think about the dynamic where women make more than their husbands?
Yeah. I've seen it work and I've seen it not work. In my parents' marriage, that was a big issue. But the money wasn't the issue. It was the personalities more than anything. My mom was a very dominant person, and I think that she needed somebody who was more dominant than her and was as assertive as a person. It was probably a lot more overtly, assertively masculine in more traditional ways, where my dad is definitely not that at all. And so I think that already caused an imbalance, and she is not somebody who's going to make herself smaller, or I think she kind of looked at it as hey, well, you need to rise to the occasion. And he was kind of well, you're hurting my feelings. And so I think there was an emotional layer to that. It wasn't actually about the money. It was more about how they were operating within their marriage and what the responsibility was and how that made each of them feel, where she then felt very resentful and he felt ashamed, I think. But that, again, it wasn't, I think the money was a symptom or an additional symptom of that rather than being the actual cause. They would have still had the same issues if he had made significantly more, I think. And so I think it really goes down to, in the marriages that I've really seen it work. I have a very, very close friend who's a mentor to me. She's one of my best friends, but she's much older than me. And she has always had a more traditional corporate job that's made a lot of money, and her husband does not. And they have an incredible, incredible marriage, and they are each other's best friends. But at the beginning of their marriage, they kind of acknowledged the elephant in the room of, hey, this is the path I'm taking, this is the path you're taking, and we're deciding this early on, and that's okay. And if things change, we'll address them. But she still massively, it doesn't change her respect of her husband. He's an incredible, incredible guy who leads their household, who is an amazing, amazing man, and she reveres him in everything. And I think that's the key is that I think money is very difficult in general too, and money causes a lot of problems. It's kind of like an age-old saying. But the foundation has to be there, I think, before the foundation has to be there for it to work.